Hello guys, nice to see you again. As I promised, we are embarking on a journey to a galaxy far, far away because today I'm introduced none other than Count Dooku from Star Wars Episode 2. A really well done figure. I'm already looking forward to the next few minutes. Even if we have to go to the dark side of the Force. I would like to start with the packaging, and you can say that it is traditional, as is the case with all Star Wars figures, always made of the same steel. Side grey and black background. In the foreground you can see an image of the current character, in this case Count Dooku. Further down there is the Star Wars logo in silver. There is also a blue banner around the packaging on which Count Dooku is shown again in two different poses. The only thing on the back here is the credits. If we open the packaging, we see a layer on your Count Dooku figure is also shown on it, already with the lightsaber down. Our figure is then underneath the layer. Count Dooku, once a Jedi who was trained by none other than Master Yoda. He later became a master himself and trained Qui-Gon Jinn, who in turn later trained Obi-Wan. Unfortunately, Count Dooku lost trust in the Jedi Order and turned it away. He submitted to none other than Darth Sidious, who thought himself the master of the dark side of the Force. Soon after, Dooku was known as Darth Tyrannus, but I prefer to stick with Count Dooku, it makes things a little less complicated. I had previously promised in this show that we would see a very well realized character of Count Dooku, and I think when we look at the face, we quickly realized that I didn't promise too much. In my opinion, one of the best head sculpts I have presented so far. Really very well done, very realistic, and without a doubt you can clearly see Sir Christopher Lee. Everything has been incorporated down to the smallest details. Beautiful painted, whether it's the beard, the eyes or the skin. Hot Toys has without question done a good job here. Not to be forgotten is the hair, which is also beautifully presented as an unusual sculpted hair here. Let's move on the costume. On the one hand we have the cloak, which I personally think I like the best of the entire costume. It's not just a piece of fabric that just hangs down, but visually it's a really eye-catcher. I like the color components with a dark and light brown on the inside. The cloak is made of a slightly thicker material than Obi-Wan's or Anakin's Jedi robes. Fits well and fits perfectly. Padding can be seen on the entire shoulder area. In my opinion, this makes the cloak look even more high quality. The cloak is held together by two brooches connected to a chain. Very nice. The costume is black and I can't help it, but the design of not just the costume but the pants and the boots is very reminiscent of the uniform of an Imperial officer. Or I'm wrong. Well, it doesn't matter. In any case, the costume is made of a relatively thin material, but unfortunately not thin enough, because we will have really problems later when it comes to the arms. To be precise, the right arm. But I will get to that later. The belt is brown, it is made of a very thin faux leather. If we pay attention to the side, let's see the holder to which we can attach the lightsaber. Of course, traditionally on the left side. The belt can be opened and closed thanks to the Velcro fastener. I would like to note that the whole costume looks really amazing, but the belt looks a bit cheap. The pants are dark brown, a little darker than the cloak, and are cut very wide. I'm curious to see what the mobility looks like. The boots look fantastic, they're in one piece and made of artificial leather, The material is not quite as stiff as we know it from other figures, which has the advantage that the feet can be moved quite well. Despite everything, I wouldn't have overused it. A seam will break very quickly and we will have a broke boot here, and I don't think anyone wants that. Let's move to the mobility. The head can be rotated once around its own axis, back and forth without any further problems. The arms can be extended to the sides by about 80 degrees. We are much more limited moving forward, here we just about there 40 degrees. The bending works without any further problems. The torso can hardly be turned left and right, but can be turned slightly forward and backwards. As expected, the legs easily reach 80 degrees when stretched forward. Angling continues to work without any problems. The figure is so well balanced that we could easily do without the base. Let's move on to accessories. We have 9 interchangeable hands, 2 lightning effects, a separated lightsaber, an interchangeable arm with illuminated lightsaber, a standard blade, a motion blade, and a hologram display with 4 different holograms. I would like to start with the base, which is very light in the hand. It's made entirely of plastic. The surface is rough. This is actually an image of Geonosis' soil, known from episode 2 when Count Dooku took on his former master Yoda, but before that Obi-Wan and Anakin had already been eliminated, even if only temporarily. At the bottom is the black with the name Count Dooku. We know that Count, like his master, is capable of shooting lightning bolts from his hands. In order to create this effect, we add these 2 lightning effects. They are made of plastic in a bright blue. Except for the area where the hands will be, it's still white before it turns to blue. We see that both effects have differences in shape and length, as it should be. Very nice. The effects are simply applied to the hands between the fingers. Let's move on the most famous weapon of a Jedi, or in this case a Sith, the lightsaber. And as I said in my Anakin Skywalker review, I like this one the most. I mean, there is many lightsaber variants, but I personally like Count Dooku's lightsaber the most. I mean, look at this cool design. The curved handle in particular make this weapon something very special. Very nicely painted with a silver metallic look. Below is the red switch that activates the lightsaber. Since we are talking about activating, of course, since we don't have a real lightsaber, we have to make it look like we do. And that's where these 2 parts come into play. On the one hand, we have a standard blade and a motion blade, a swinging effect if you want. For example, for fight scenes. Both are simply attached to the lightsaber. I have to say that the motion blade is really heavy. I can hardly imagine it being attached to the sword and then later attached to the arm can hold the weight or position. The keyword here is arm, and of course we also get the opportunity to light up your lightsaber. Since the lightsaber itself is not technically capable of producing light because it would be far too small to use batteries, a complete forearm was used instant. What sounds easy in theory will soon prove to be very difficult and annoying in practice. First of all, we have the arm here, all good. Here we have the battery compartment in which there are 3 batteries. Right next to the battery compartment there is a switch that we flip and your lightsaber lights up. Now just plug in the effect you want, standard or motion, whatever you want. But we are not finished yet, because your arm still has to be attached somehow. And now I came back to the difficult and annoying topic, I just mentioned it. In theory, arm off and arm on. Sounds easy, but unfortunately it isn't. Because the costume is so tight, especially on the arms, that it is very difficult to use the arm that needs to be changed. Count Dooku was already used in my Anakin Skywalker review. And if you sit on a table and try to change an arm for Count Dooku for half an hour, it's frustrating. The nice thing about it, however, is that you have finally managed it. The whole thing looks really good, and I think you're happy to accept the work when you see pictures like this. Finally, we have something very great, namely the hologram display, perhaps known from the scene when Count Dooku on Geonosis was given the blueprints for the Death Star in order to bring them his master on Coruscant a little later. We get exactly this hologram and 3 additional holograms for a display, which we simply attach and you can change as you wish. Due to the sides the display is not illuminated, I think that would be asking too much. In any case, you can swap between 4 different holograms. As just seen the design of the Death Star, we have Jango Fett here, we have
Hey! What's going on here? I'm a battle droid! Roger.
sorry, we have a battle droid, and finally Darth Sidious. I'm surprised that the holograms are so detailed given their small size. Really good job. My conclusion, Count Dooku is really a very well implemented figure that is very close to the original. Be it the almost perfect head sculpt, the costume, or the great accessories like the holograms you just saw and so on. Visually, it's really an eye-catcher. Unfortunately, what's negative is the lack of mobility and the almost endless struggle when replacing the arm. Since the optics play a bigger role for me, my rating is at fellows. And what you can do with this figure, I'll show you now. Count Dooku is not a Sith who hid his face behind a mask or looks scary. Rather, I see a bitter, sad old man who has lost trust in the Jedi. He played a crucial role in the Clone Wars, and for me as a Star Wars fan, there was no way around this character. There was also no way to get past the character that I will introduce in the next show. And I think this figure is the main reason why I started all this. We have Batman from Batman Returns along with Bruce Wayne. I can't wait. But until that happens, I'll say goodbye for now. All that's left to say is, don't forget, if you look for toys, then Patrick's your choice. See you then.